é bom?
Não, não é bom.
Não é salário.
Como é que ganha?
Assim, uma linha está 25 meticais.
30 cents for each plank they cut. At the end of the day, they will have made €2 and their backs will be extremely sore. In this region of Mozambique, technology has not yet replaced manual labour. To that end, a spare machine part effectively costs more than a human life. This team of lumberjacks are making the most of a rare break as the vehicle taking them to the forest is experiencing some trouble. The engine is overheating. They need to let the monster cool down, but Bassunga, the head of the team, does not want to lose an entire day's work. Unfortunately, the truck is a real pressure cooker. The hot water geyser did not injure anyone, but there is a small problem.
Perdeu-se alguma coisa? Perdeu-se alguma coisa?
Sim.
O quê?
Essa tampa daqui.
Saltou?
Sim, saltou.
Without the cap, they cannot leave. Finally, half an hour later, Bassunga's team can see that it's going to be a long day.
Para mim, estou a ver que é a primeira vez desde que eu comecei a andar com esse carro aqui. Vamos.
Work is scarce in Mozambique. Getting enough to eat every day is not easy, so when a job presents itself, no one ever refuses it, even if it is illegal. Like these lumberjacks, or rather these forest thieves. Even though it's forbidden, they cut down approximately 20 trees a day, hoping not to be caught by the police.
Aqui havia madeira aqui? Sim. Já cortaram tudo? Acabou.
Hace mucho tiempo que van allá.
Mesmo uns 10 anos.
Okay.
A vida é isso só.
Cada vez é mais longe.
Cada vez mais é longe, porque a madeira, como é muito difícil, né? Às vezes acertamos aqui. Depois, quando vemos, acertamos em outro sítio. Está a ver isso? Está a ver isso?
Sim.
Já, cortamos. E daí, sempre vamos adiante. Yeah. É assim como chegamos longe.
They go further and further where the road no longer exists, taking no notice of the danger. This extensive plunder is transforming their country into a desolate wasteland. Every year, 22,000 square kilometres of woodland disappears. That is an amount 20 times the size of Paris. Pink ivory, ebony. These names are the stuff of dreams. However, these precious trees are on the brink of extinction. Every year, thousands of tree trunks are shipped off to Asian countries.
Muito dinheiro. Agora China é que paga muito dinheiro.
Transport is challenging. The road is like a long obstacle course. Driving in Mozambique requires a lot of patience.
Aqui você tem de usar inteligência.
The roads in Mozambique have been left to waste away. Even though the country is rich in gas and coal, it's still struggling to overcome the aftermath of the terrible civil war that knocked it to the ground between 1977 and 1992. Almost 4 decades later, earning $1 a day is a real challenge. Resourcefulness and recycling are key to getting by. Knowing how to use one's hands and being able to work in a team are essential. Those who do not follow get left behind.
That's it.
Nobody messes around when earning a living is at stake. Half of Mozambique's 25 million inhabitants live below the poverty line, and yet they keep on smiling. Their motto is, life is stronger than anything. One of the best paid jobs in Mozambique is working as a woodcutter. Lumberjacks earn €3 a day for taking on a constant stream of obstacles. Today's first challenge is dodging these branches before they knock the men out.
Nesse trabalho aqui não é fácil para você entrar a fazer nesse trabalho. Precisa se arriscar para entrar nesse trabalho. Você tem que ter coragem, não?
Brave and very patient, this route is anything but a smooth ride.
Olha, cara que me para. Não, eu queria passar aqui porque vi que o carro é mais comprido.
Por isso de...
E a questão daquilo ali, já queria poder passar aqui.
Before getting the truck out of the hole, the lumberjacks go for the tree. The villagers watch silently. They know nothing will stop these men who work to put food on the table. After the morning breakdown, Bassunga and his men are delayed by 2 hours. Their boss is worried.
Boss. Boa. Ainda não cheguei ao sítio. Pouco melhor. Porque não se sabe como andar normal. Okay, depois também a volta.
Fast is best, as the police always do their rounds at the end of the day. By this time, the team should be leaving with a truck full of tree trunks. If they're caught, both the truck and their axes are confiscated, unless they have enough money to get out of it. The track ends at this point. The team cut their last set of trees here last week. Now they have to venture into the unknown. Bassunga has never gone this far before. Before plundering the forest, they must face a final obstacle, the dried riverbed.
Ainda não chegamos ao destino, só vamos subir até em cima aí. O sítio é aí.
Digging would take hours, so Bassunga tries his luck with the jack.
Quiero levantar un pelo para pôr esse pão aí. Não, eu puxei com ele. Só que tanto não te espera dar. Agora, nada como.
At first, his efforts seem in vain. The men may have to spend the night in the bush without earning any money. They're paid by the number of trees cut down. Their tempers start to flare up. The team prepare to return empty-handed. It's only 4 hours before nightfall. "400 kilometres further north, it's rained all morning and the ground has become muddy. When the road gets muddy, business always suffers. At a road stop in Balama, Johnny, the bush taxi driver, desperately waits for customers.
Mais ou menos hoje. Só que não está bem, choveu muito e não há passageiros. Tem marupa aqui? Tem marupa aqui?
No one wants to run the risk of winding up stuck in the mud for days on the road. Johnny, unfortunately, has no choice.
Já combinamos, ainda não tenho como. Sem ou com, vou ter que ir para onde? Para Marupa hoje.
He cannot cancel this contract even if it means losing some money by driving without any passengers. The university pays him all year round to pick up students. After a few tense hours,
Eu vou para lá.
Não, já está. Já está em boas mãos.
Tá bem, então já meti ali as pastas.
Sim, está em boas mãos.
Ok, tá bem, obrigado. Ok, tá bem, obrigado.
Tentamos aumentar um bocado o número.
Ok, não tem problema. Como é que conseguiu o transporte, para mim, estou sossegado. Não tem problema.
Vamos arrancar.
Ok.
I'm waiting for some, at least, some more two, and then we move.
One or two. Okay.
Yeah, one more two, and then we move. Yeah, because I can't just go empty.
Essa moça de pasta aí, eu que lhe mandei vir para aqui.
with passengers helping to find more passengers, 4 extra people climb into the vehicle. For security reasons, Johnny sets off with a co-pilot.
Você que é o piloto, lá atrás tem copiloto, né? Tem que seguir a sua guia.
Onde é seu tempo?
The road from Balama to Marupa is not very long, but this small 100-kilometre route is unsettling for all who dare take it. According to Johnny, the philosophical driver, there's no reason to be afraid.
Essa via aqui quer carinho só. Conduzir com carinho. Aqui você tem de usar inteligência. Onde vou pôr o pneu, vamos passar como. Não é só não.
Not too long ago, these roads were occupied by infamous road bandits. When the police finally put a stop to these bandits' attacks, they changed their strategy. They are very cunning. Their villages are traps for travellers.
Yeah, I know this place is shit, yeah?
There doesn't seem to be anything suspicious about this track, but it is dangerous. His co-pilot thinks he has a better solution.
Tem que preferir entrar aqui, porque ali o gajo vai bater coisa. Tem que entrar daqui, dali o gajo bater daqui.
Só que ele tem que vir com velocidade, não pode vir pouco a pouco. Ele chuta
Shit. Não queria passar naquele lado lá. Por causa disso. Ali eu não vejo coisa.
Não tem estresse.
Eu queria passar ali, porque eu ali passar numa boa. You know, when there is a lot of water, you won't get stuck.
O gajo
Tem enxada.
escorregou de novo.
Escorregou sim.
Vamos lá pedir enxada.
Não, sabe porque vamos lá pedir essa gente.
Driving without a shovel on this road is like throwing yourself to the wolves. These ruts are sabotaged by the villagers. Their rescuers turn out to be hustlers. They demand a small fortune.
Você sabe dizer, vocês têm? Tudo pensa no dinheiro. Primeiro dá enxada, vamos agradecer, é simples. Só pensa no dinheiro só. Esses
Desde nada.
You know, look here, I know where I
Querem quanto mesmo? É o que é isso aí?
500,
Isso me ajuda. Eu um dia passar aqui e ver você com criança doente para o hospital.
Ninguém essa rima, mano, em rádio hospital, ainda não para criar.
300. You know, so I 300. You know what? 300. 200.
You know what I mean? 300. 300, no I mean.
Eu disse 200.
300, you know what I mean?
200.
Manda pela que chugarle.
Johnny then tries a technique that normally works: divide and conquer.
Agora vai,
Sim.
Copa de cigarro, já dei para cigarro.
Copa de comando.
Já dei cigarro.
This group is right to celebrate. They make €3 for each vehicle that gets stuck in the mud. Normally, these farmers don't even make €1 a day. In the city, the Mozambicans can expect to earn a little more. That is, if they're prepared to take some risks. In the middle of the country, at the edge of the River of Good Signs, lies the town of Quamagne. In these streets, it's not the car horn that dominates, but rather the bike bell. The town is home to 192,000 inhabitants and almost just as many bikes. The cars have to make their own way amidst the two-wheel traffic. A government official has to work for an average of 50 years before being able to afford a new car, and even then the litres of fuel are far too expensive. Because of this, bikes rule this town, even if it means transporting the most unlikely goods. Antonio is an ace. His balancing skills are matched only by his courage. He has to deliver 14 crates of beer to the other end of town. 168 bottles for €1. He alone is in charge of the delivery. If he breaks anything, he has to pay. for this delivery, the risk is not really worth the money.
Quantas cargas por dia? Por dia, mais ou menos.
Por dia, 10, vou fazer 250.
€3 a day. Ten years ago, Antonio was a farmer, but after the death of his wife, he swapped his shovel for a pair of wheels. He thought he could get by a little better in the town, but here everything is more expensive. The bike does not belong to him. He rents it for €1 a day.
Acá dormís.
Aqui,
Acá tu
aqui é a
casa.
casa. É minha casa.
Ok. ¿Dónde dormís?
Aqui mesmo.
Aquí, donde está la cama.
A cama é essa.
At the back of his cabin, Antonio hides a small treasure.
Acá arranjas una nueva.
Sim. Falta jante, pneu, câmara. Mas estava. Porque eu consegui minha é essa. Já não vou pagar mais.
Ok.
Já vou começar também na minha conta.
If he saves up the money he earns and does not break a single bottle, Antonio will have his bike finished in 2 years' time. Back with the lumberjacks, things are a little chaotic. Their truck is still stuck by the dried riverbed. Bassunga's team has divided in two. There are some who've given up and are ready to set fire to the bush to satisfy their hunger.
¿Por qué hiciste fuego?
Ok, quiero hacer castaña.
And there are some who've decided they're not returning home empty-handed.
Hey! Bana vamos nos avô. É caro é de payment lá vovô. Que não vai zammo. Se não agora tudo vaca nem vai correr que fio ativo.
Liberation finally comes after hours of hard work, but it's all relative. It's almost dark and the lumberjacks have very little time to cut down 25 trees.
Por que escolheste esse trabalho?
Por não ter mais outro emprego.
Almost all of the chopped wood is sold abroad. This trade makes $540 million each year.
É melhor cortar madeira do que ser camponês.
Sí, pero todo el mundo lo hace, no va a haber más nada después. No va a haber más madera.
Não vai haver madeira, não sei onde. Mas será difícil, porque cada vez mais. Aqui, não só aqui, lá também tem lá no fundo. Lá também tem lá no fundo. Depois daqui eles vão mudar para o outro lado.
Muito dinero.
Muito dinheiro. Agora a China é que paga muito dinheiro.
The Mozambicans decide to cut the branch on which they are sat.
No es peligroso. ¿Cómo va a caer él? ¿Cómo va a caer?
Como vai cair? Ele está descendo aqui.
These men are like machines. They push themselves to the maximum to cut down as much as possible.
Hata kwa vitu kulio ni mchocho kushia. Ba wewe ali.
Moto. Ah, vamos.
Niniwa. Ah, kuyeke.
Kuyeke.
Ewa, kumelebo.
Ay, que cara. Hay que montar eso. Hay que vamos. ¿Qué fue el show? Ah, campana. Estoy bien.
Today, their efforts will not amount to much. The pay will be minimal. Bassunga, the foreman, gives them the bad news.
Assim, vamos carregar só que porque a estrada não está boa. Se fosse que a estrada era boa, né?
Sim.
Teria carregando pelo menos uns 20, 25. Mas vou conseguir só carregar uns 15 para poder passar.
Com aquelas inclinações.
Já sei lá. Vamos lá carregar. Pessoal, porque o tempo já está a fugir.
The road home will be just as difficult as the rest of the day. In 2 hours, Johnny, the minibus driver, has only managed to drive 30 kilometres. He's just reached Riteta, the village he's most worried about.
This place is very complicated.
The co-pilot tries to figure out the best route, but since their last breakdown in the mud, Johnny does not really trust his judgment. He decides to follow his instinct.
Shit. Vamos lá puxar aqui.
Once again, the bus has fallen into a trap. The inhabitants hone in on their prey. They will have to negotiate again.
Você que começou?
Mili, né?
Mil.
Perito, viu? Mil meticais.
Mil para o quê? Para empurrarmos. Senhores, vamos lá. Sabe o quê? Nós somos moçambicanos.
Semos, sim.
Sim, temos que nos entender como moçambicanos. Aqui só daqui vão me deixar. Onde eu parar, vão me empurrar assim mesmo.
400.
Bwana Nkanivu
Vamos lá entender como eu hei de vir mais daqui mesmo com passageiro.
Aya Nkanivu kuleni kinirina.
Queremos tirar esse lugar aqui primeiro.
And that's how you earn €6 without much effort. The money will be used to buy soap and basic necessities for the village.
Johnny, go! Go!
Go, Johnny, go echoes like a rock and roll song over this cursed track.
Meus irmãos, muito obrigado. Quando eu voltar, aí vocês vão jogar.
Cigarro, mano, mano.
Yeah, because you know this place is a muddy place. So they pass a lot of trucks here. The big truck with the heavy.
Go ahead.
You see?
Charge.
Yeah, that's why you know the place is like this.
Okay.
Because if it was a small car like this.
And why they don't manage it, the people over there?
They can't, because if they manage it, they won't get money. You see, now we're going to pay them some money. The population, you know. Say that government, they have to do that, not us. Yeah. Aqui logo depois para apanhar a areia, tá bom ali?
Nada, não está bom.
Vamos acompanhar pouco até lá, só ver como está.
Sim, vamos.
Aí.
Para aqui, não para longe, para longe. Para aqui, nós vamos ver terreno.
A 38-ton vehicle is stuck in the middle of the road.
Sim, naquela guerra.
These truck drivers are in no state to reach their destination. It could take weeks before a repairman comes to help them out. Johnny is going to try to bypass them.
Ali, ele vai passar aqui. Era difícil, sim. E o Johnny, tu vai ser, consegue. Força! Força! Vai.
É tudo mais.
É perigoso, Johnny. Vai, Johnny.
Marupa District. This is Marupa.
Ok, apesar de muita distância, acho que entramos bem, a estrada está mal.
Assim já está.
7 hours of travel, over 100 kilometres, and the minibus comes out victorious. Johnny will take the same road back the next day, hoping that there will be no rain to slow his journey. For the team of lumberjacks, nightfall has complicated their situation. These forest thieves are worried that they will be caught by the police. The police normally do their rounds at the end of the day when the trucks are loaded with tree trunks.
Às vezes você para num controle antes de carregar. Você fala com eles, eu vou carregar matéria. Ok? À sua volta, você para num sítio antes de chegar no controle, fala, você passa até ali, conversa com ele. O carro está a vir. Você saca alguma coisa, está a passar. Ok. É para proteger de não parar nada depois do controle. Ok. Sem dinheiro você não passa. Vamos então.
The lumberjacks still have to pass through the dried riverbed, the same one that they were trapped in just a few hours earlier.
Wait, Puto,
This time, Bassunga tries to go through forcefully. Not a good idea. The men are exhausted.
One tipeke, kumheka nthale Mozambique, alintu amekhale na arumari kibo.
Péssimo, porque sofremos mal. O carro entrou do jeito que não é. Epa, sofremos mal.
A lot of effort for a meagre €3 each. Their only consolation tonight is that they will not run into the police. "200 kilometres away, near the island of Mozambique, is a large stretch of land. It's 3 kilometres long and 350 metres wide. The Portuguese made it their capital. During the 5 centuries of colonisation, the natives were forbidden from entering the town. When Mozambique acquired its independence in 1975, approximately 300 families moved to the island, especially fishermen. Fish is the main source of income on the island. Sidi in red and his brother Apagar are some of the poorest fishermen on the island. They've been saving for many months to buy themselves a gadget that will change their lives.
Esse tal senhor mestre, o arte dele.
Due to the lack of resources, you have to be creative. Getsinho is skilled in the art of making diving masks.
Mais vidros, sim. Mais corda, sim. Mais este aqui, sim. Este, sim. Mais este, este é alumínio,
Getsinho sells his masks for €10 each. They are not free.
Assim o vidro já está perfeito, completo.
Sim.
Nem a máquina, nem o que, só é a arte do mestre.
Little by little, the mask begins to take shape. And an hour later, there is a demonstration.
Aí, ó.
Está aqui, está aí água e não está nenhuma parte aí embaixo que está a pingar água. A parte aqui passa no rosto. É assim. Poça da torre.
With this mask, Apagar has no doubt that fishing will be much easier. On the boats, men are also superior to machines. Their muscles are pushed to the maximum, but this morning, the current stops them from moving forward. In Sidi and Apagar's boat, the crew is extremely versatile. 11-year-old kids work with fishermen that could be their grandparents. Even though they work themselves to the bone, their hunt for fish is not equal to that of the other fishermen on the island.
exemplo, não havia muitos pescadores. Não havia muitos pescadores, não havia muitos parques. Esse dia, há muitos parques. Fugiram aqueles peixes, fugiram aqui, foram no alto mar. Lá no alto mar nós não conseguimos chegar.
Before throwing the net into the water, the team must pick up speed, otherwise the net will not extend properly. "500 meters of netting is spread out into the sea.
Quiero fechar ali para fechar assim para ser mais próxima à rede.
¿Para qué sirve lo que tenés acá atrás?
Para fechar a rede. Quando ir lá dentro, tirar e segurar assim e fechar.
Ok, tá bom.
Tá? Até breve.
It takes 2 men to complete the maneuver 10 meters below the water. On the boat, the fishermen use all of their strength to pull the net up. They try to close the trap as quickly as possible. 11-year-old Bakaito struggles to keep up with their rhythm. He hinders the maneuver.
Kawani barin koino. Wala punona. Suko baran no kuwala. Wala no shanta. Nasulengu. Sheni wa no we. Bakayikorsha kula. Watinu lo koloshe.
Apagar is exhausted, but he dives again. He tries to keep the fish at the bottom of the net. Lots of effort for almost nothing.
Não apanhamos esse peixe. Esses dias.
Fish are becoming scarcer, but Sidi still has hope for the future.
Sim, esses são futuros, né?
Sim.
É para eles ficarem com ele e quando morrerem.
Sim.
Ou quando morrerem, eles vão ficar, eles vão aprender, vão crescendo e aprender. Também os nossos pais diziam assim: olha, vocês, meus filhos, aprendem, ficam com esse trabalho.
É pouco peixe, né?
Sim, são poucos. Mas vamos dividir.
Sim.
Então vai levar dele.
Their dinner will be small as the fish are not very big. Overfishing has caused significant damage. The fish no longer have enough time to reproduce. In order for the numbers to increase, the fishermen from the island of Mozambique would have to stop fishing for at least 5 years. Back in the minibus, Johnny is driving back in the opposite direction with 4 students. The university paid triple to reserve his bush taxi. This time, the sun is out. It seems as though nothing can spoil this day. except perhaps his co-pilot's last crazy idea.
Eu tô a vir, eu sou o comandante Shabani. Com minha cabeça. Se eu estava a procurar comida, estava vindo do campo. Assim já entrei no carro. Faz vídeo, minha cabeça, vou almoçar. Família não morre fome.
However, it is hot, extremely hot. After half an hour on the road, the odour is unbearable. Johnny asks him to put his calf's head in the cooler, but there's a small problem. It won't fit.
Shit. Johnny! Dá mais essa cachorra um bocado. Fala sério, você é meu brother, por isso eu te confio, também já viste?
Agora é uma maneira só para depois jogar, mata amarrar, dá uma entrada mosca, dá uma encher mosca.
Eu vou comprar gelo.
As they cover more and more ground, tension builds in the minibus. Johnny is nearing the villages that are full of traps set by the inhabitants, holes filled cunningly with water so that the vehicles get stuck in them. But this time, Johnny has no intention of getting his wallet out.
Mula. Enterramos ali, tá? Johnny, estávamos quase para partir esse carro, que não havia
The minibus gets through without any trouble. Johnny savours his revenge.
They don't gonna take you money, so you happy.
Yeah.